So welcome back, everyone. I got a newbie with me, and I love when I have my newbies with me because they get nervous, so I get nervous, but she doesn't seem very nervous right now. I have with me Stella Yeo, and she is the owner of Stellar, I say it right now, you're getting me mixed up here, Agency Insurance. Welcome to the show. I want you to tell everybody first a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Of course. So I am an insurance broker. I am directly appointed with really over 15 A-rated carriers. I'm only appointed with A-rated. I don't do
Why is that so important?
Substandard. Bottom line, I want companies that are reputable, that are going to pay out in the event of a claim, and that people are satisfied with. And I get a lot of really good feedback during the claims process.
So how long have you been doing what you do?
10 years.
10 years?
A little over 10 years.
Now, we had talked before you came on, and one of the things that I asked you is this is free service. And I think a lot of people probably think that's too good to be true, right?
Right.
And let's tell them a little bit about that.
Yes. So I don't have any broker fees, is what's very common with a lot of brokerages. They have broker fees, not just administrative, not just when they bind a policy, like initiation fees of a policy, but then even when you call for a task, they'll have all kinds of fees involved. I don't do that. I get paid a commission from the carriers that I represent, and that's how every insurance agency works. Even if you go direct, there's a commission somewhere down the line.
There's a commission.
Exactly. And so that's how I work. I only get paid through the carriers, not through the insured.
So what should people be looking for when they're shopping for insurance?
Well, I do home, auto, and commercial, and the biggest thing I always say is make sure that there's added endorsements that you need. For example, if you have one vehicle only, you want to make sure you have rental car coverage, because if you're at fault, you don't want to be left without a vehicle. Or glass coverage. Here in Arizona, that's a big deal. So I always say, make sure it has added endorsements. When I do comparisons from my insureds, when they send me their policy, I see that a lot of these are very strict of these add-ons.
Well, I think this is what's important for people to not do, is go up onto Google and to try and do it themselves, and a lot of people do. And I think what makes you different is that, number one, you know what to look for, right? And probably even for the best deals, you know what they pay, what they don't pay. I mean, have been doing this for 10 years, so for sure you're gonna know what is best for that person.
Exactly. And as I mentioned, I am licensed in other fields, but I stay in my lane because you really tailor it. So you have to be knowledgeable of what each insurance carrier offers. There is no such thing as apples to apples in the realm of insurance. Like every carrier, there's some that go up to just 10 miles across the border. There's some that go up to 100 miles across the border to give you coverage. And if someone, for example, travels to Rocky Point on a regular basis, they're most likely going to find value in getting a carrier that offers that coverage.
Yeah, if you do, I mean, that's your problem if you do. But anyway, you want to make sure that you're covered correctly. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yes.
Now, when you work, you said that you work statewide.
Yes.
Okay, this is a free service. Her phone number is 602-818-5286.
810.
I'm sorry?
810.
810. Okay, so 810. So let me say it again for everybody. So it's 602-810-5286. Again, 602-810-5286. It's Stellar Agency Insurance.com. And the main thing is people out there, I implore everybody, you go up on the website, you try and do these things on your own, and I'm sorry, there's just too much information. You're not going to know what's really right for you. And we're talking about home, auto, right? What else?
Commercial.
And commercial.
Yes.
And I want to also ask you, and again, I want to say what makes you set you apart, not just only the known fees, but also that you represent only A-rated carriers, reputable carriers, and that's important. Now, okay, you talked about endorsements, and I don't really know even what that means. What is that?
That's usually an add-on that's not included in like the basic policy. And for example, for home, there are 3 endorsements I always include, and they're non-negotiable. To be honest, if an insured says, I don't need that, then I say we might not be a good match for each other. And that's the extended dwelling. I always do at least 25% extended dwelling, and the reason why is inflation. I mean, we just went through a huge spike of inflation, and I think it was even on the news where a lot of people were left with a big old gap, not realizing that they were severely underinsured. So I always do that. That's called an endorsement. It's not included in the basic, but you add it on, extended dwelling. The other one I do is replacement cost on contents. Same thing, depreciation. You know, we don't, if God forbid there's a burglary or something, we don't want to come back and say, well, you know, your TV's worth $20 now, and now you're unhappy. So, and then water backup. If a home is past a certain age, I always make sure to include that in there as well. So there are certain endorsements that to me are non-negotiables on home. For auto, same thing. If it's a single auto, rental car coverage is a non-negotiable. Glass coverage, towing and roadside, that's give or take on the insured.
Well, I'll tell you something, I would want somebody who knows what they're doing like you, because I wouldn't even know to think about that. And that's where you come in. And if they say no, let me tell you folks, she's saying, okay, we don't work together, because she's saying, you need to have this, and that's why she's there to help you.
Right.
And sometimes paying a little bit more, obviously,
Right.
you know, in the long run, God forbid something happens, and you never know when it's gonna, that's what this is for.
Exactly.
So she works statewide. This is a free service to you, and her phone number is 602-810-5286. You can check her out on her website, which is Stellar, STELLAR, agencyinsurance.com. What has changed within the industry over the past few years?
Well, here in Arizona, we've seen a huge impact with everyone that moved here from adjacent states. I mean, a lot of people came here, not just from California, but Nevada, and I even received calls when the market blew up from even northern, eastern states. And so that has really changed as far as the accidents, the claims, the way that they're handled now. 3 years ago, I would have said, you know, glass and roadside claims don't impact you, but now, because of the different roads that we're dealing with, they're so much more saturated now.
It's because they're working on them all the time and trying to fix them, but they're not fixed, ever.
But the commute too, I mean, our roads are different.
But also there's more people out.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Yes. And so claims are handled differently, and all those signs that you were seeing 4 or 5 years ago where we'll give you $100 for a windshield replacement, you know, at the end of the day, nothing's free. You ended up that inflated the claim, and now, unfortunately, that's changed. Claims are handled differently. They look at continuity of claims, and
I would think that everybody would know to get windshield replacement, you know, be covered for that. Why do they leave that out? I mean, is it a lot?
so it totally depends on the vehicle, because technology, right?
That's
if it's
right.
if it's a past a certain year, and now they have sensors, and so I've seen these windshield claim payouts of like $1,500 plus.
So
really hard to believe.
really quickly, just tell everybody, how does somebody know that they're underinsured?
With the inflation that we just experienced, it's very important to evaluate the current policy that you have. A lot of my companies, because they're extremely reputable and they keep up to date with everything, they will keep up with inflation. When they see that, they will go ahead and, you know, increase it a percentage. A lot of companies do not do that, and that leaves people underinsured because, you know, lumber, labor, materials, it's so much more now. You need to make sure you're increasing these coverages. More importantly though, if you're making upgrades to your home, if you're going from vinyl flooring to marble flooring, we want to make sure we update that. Or I had people that added pools or pergolas, or that's other structures. So if you're making updates to your home, you have to update your policy, and we're not psychic.
I said it earlier, I didn't know I was doing this again, but you know what? If you should take them out and dust them off.
Yeah.
And make sure, do you look at them? Do you
I
do
do.
second opinions?
I definitely do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what would be your final words, real quick?
So my motto is, you know, where quality meets savings, because yes, we all want to save money. And the thing about insurance, right, is we're not using it every day, so we think we're just throwing away money, but it's really better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And so I always say where quality meets savings, because people are truly happy with the quality of service, with the quality of claims, with the overall service that they're getting.
Her phone number again is 602-810-5286. Her website is stellaragencyinsurance.com. She is statewide. This is a free service to you, and what makes her stand out is not only is it a free service, but also she only works with reputable companies, so their carriers are reputable carriers. Again, 602-810-5286, stellaragencyinsurance.com.